Well, we're back doing these fire doors again. I have not got out of my truck and shoveled these doors once this winter, but I think today I will definitely have to do that because there's a good 2 feet of snow in that corner. And I'm going to try and clean up around the generator. I got a bit of ranting to do. You know, there's a... Gonna rant a little bit. I'm allowed to rant. I started this channel thinking I wouldn't do those things, as I subscribed to a bunch of guys that I really enjoyed watching, and they didn't rant and they didn't swear. They never swore. So I thought I'll never swear. It was kind of a policy I made to myself that I wouldn't do. And I'm gonna break all the rules today. We're gonna rant, and there's a good possibility I'm gonna swear. So if your kids are in the room, you may want to either drop the volume down or not watch this video. So you've been warned ahead of time. I doubt there's going to be a lot of swearing. I'm going to pick my words carefully, but I might get emotional about these things I'm going to mention. The guy next door here is a complete fool. He's been asked for over a year now not to blow snow through the fence, and he continues doing it. So I contacted I had a meeting. They scheduled a meeting with me, property manager here, which I met for the first time in 3 years I've been working at this site. And I met him for the first time. I didn't even know his name. That's how incompetent this company I'm working for is. So that's kind of what the rant is about. How incompetent they are. They think they're really good though. That's what's scary, is they think they're hot shots and they're really good. And continually over and over again, I realize that they're totally incompetent. And the real people with the skills and the solutions are the contractors that work for them. Not just me, but many, many contractors. There's nothing special about me, but I just try and get my day's work done. And the only way I can go home is if everything's done. So I have all the reason in the world to solve problems. They seem to have no reason at all to solve anything. And they have that, like I said, they have solutions in their name. I won't be mentioning their name, but so I mentioned in October that this guy's been blowing snow through the fence for over a year, and they had no clue. They didn't even know that. I said, well, listen, this is the third, what I thought was a property manager. It's an assistant. So I think property manager is a big title. They don't just give it out willy-nilly to anybody. They hire these people that are really young and inexperienced. I think probably one of the requirements is have zero experience when they get hired, because they have no experience. And then they manage me. So I've been doing this snow removal since they were in probably kindergarten, but possibly elementary school at least. So I've been dealing with this stuff for a long time, and I know I have a lot of... They think I'm some dumb plow guy, and most of you guys watching this video probably get treated like me. Some stupid ass plow operator. He doesn't know anything. When the real fact is, I could probably do their job and my job better than they can do just their job. So, that being said, over a year now, there's still no solution to this jackass blowing snow through the fence. And you can see it right there. You can see the snow that he blew through the fence. I'm gonna try and get close enough that you can, and maybe even zoom in right where that gate is. Right through the bottom panel of that gate, you can see a little lump there. That's not from me, that's from him. And that's just a little bit. Last year, the pile ran right up 2/3 of the way up that fence and sloped down, so the center of the pile was right where the chain link fence was last winter. I had no room at all. There's only about, you can see, there's only about 12 feet between the outside fence here, this post, and the brick wall over here. So I run out of space very quickly, and he seems to think he needs to stockpile all the snow right there, and it ends up blowing through the fence. So I said, listen, I got something going against me which I didn't mention yet. I don't have a plow permit. I decided 5 years ago that I would not buy a plow permit because we didn't have enough snow removal to justify having a plow permit. And it's not a lot of money for a plow permit, but it's been 5 years, and I think it's $200 a year or something like that. It might have gone up. So that's $1,000 I've saved. But I think the first thing's going to happen if I call the city about this guy blowing snow through the fence. And that's exactly what the plow permit's designed for. It's designed to cover the cost of people managing snow contractors. So city bylaw guys would come out, not the police, but probably bylaw or maybe it's a title, maybe it's a snow removal inspector. I don't know. So he'd come out and he'd look over the situation. He'd either give the guy a warning or slap him a fine. I'd imagine he'd just slap him a fine, but I think before they fined him, they would ask me, where's your plow permit? So I don't want to deal with that. That's why I never called the city last winter. That's why I kept giving him over and over again. I kept giving him warnings. I called him. I have his phone number. I have his email address. I found his email address on the internet. I emailed him a couple of nasty letters saying, stop blowing snow through the fence. Anyway, nothing ever happened. I think he tried to stop it. So we got that. And then we got a lot of snow here. And then what happened one day is he pushed all the snow. He went in there with his little plow in the front of his tractor and he pushed it all up past the metal railing and left it there. And it was weather like this. It was like -20. This stuff hardened like concrete. As soon as you pile snow up, it hardens up and there's no way to get it out of there. So I called him and told him, remove that snow. You can't pile it there. There's a walkway right to the gate at the back. And I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's a bunch of steam coming up. We'll go back in there and we'll look at it again. Yeah, so there you see a whole bunch of chimneys right there on the top of that building. Smokestacks. There's a generator inside the building, I believe. There's a generator outside the building. There's chimneys. All that stuff's got to do with the way this building is heated. I think the boiler's in one of those rooms, and security people check that door every night. I think 7 nights a week they come in and check it. Okay, so because that door has to be checked by security all week, even on weekends, as soon as they see anything not done over there, not salted, not plowed, I get phone calls. As long as the snow is plowed out, and I was shoveling it last winter because they blew snow through the fence to the point where I couldn't get this truck in there. I have nothing else to do this site with. So getting to the second issue, I requested that I can park a machine here for a couple of reasons. It would help. I have a machine that I can put here, and the other reason was they complained extensively about how the truck is an inappropriately sized machine to do the walkways in front. I said, no, I don't know. To me, it's not inappropriately sized. If it can plow snow, it's the right fucking size. So anyway, nothing in the contract says it can't be done with a pickup truck, so they got no leg to stand on. And them giving me permission to park a machine on this site is kind of like giving up power. So I haven't heard a word since October. It's now 20th of January. I didn't expect to hear anything till the end of winter, probably middle or the end of February, the earliest. And all I really need is a yes or no. I don't need a big long explanation. Just yes, I can park a machine here, or no, I can't. So that's the second part of them not doing their job. They either haven't contacted their client who's in the building, and it's a government department, or they haven't gotten back. So they got to push the issue. They got to, every time they have a meeting, they got to bring it up, or they got to set up a meeting, or whatever they got to do. I don't really care. If I'm not allowed to park anything here, it kind of gives me 100% permission to plow the front walkways with this pickup truck. So they went around last spring and took pictures all along the edges of the walkway. They said there's damage to the edge of the turf. I looked at the pictures and said, I don't see any damage. I came here, I looked at the walkways, I looked at the turf, no damage. I said, if there's anything wrong on the edge of the walkway, it's the grass is dead because we're throwing tons of salt on there, and they keep telling me put more salt. So I said, all the grass is gonna die. if you want me to throw more salt. So, well, you know, what do you want? And then on top of that, what was the other thing? It was a dead tree. Since the start date of this contract, which October 2016, going way back now, I've mentioned that there's a dead tree, and we're on the third site manager. They're really an assistant property manager. I don't know if I mentioned it already, but I've never even met or knew the name of the actual property manager, the guy with the actual title, property manager. So until October, I met him, and he said he would deal with this guy next door, and that was the last time I talked to him. I sent him a text yesterday with a picture of the snow blowing through the fence. I don't expect to hear anything back. It's now 11 o'clock on Monday. Not a word back. I doubt we'll hear anything all week. So that's, yeah, many strikes against them. A company that doesn't do their job. And then it was kind of funny because they asked me for a price on the tree, which I'd already given them a price a year before. And the way their process works is they need a arborist report on a dead tree of all things. They need an arborist report. So I said, okay, I can give you an arborist report. Okay, we're looking at. I haven't heard the numbers from. I'll have to look on the website. I think the official number must be close to 20 centimeters. It may be in the description. I'll write that in there after I check. So that's quite a bit of snow, but this is, I think, one of the easiest snows I've plowed this winter, even though it's a lot. I wish they're all like this. It's nice fluffy powder. Not too heavy, but there's a lot of it. When I was here last week plowing, they removed 2 trailers right here. This may be mentioned in another video. I did another video on that. And they left the 6x6 piece of wood there that they put their jack on, frozen to the ground. So I came in here plowing last week and ran into them on Thursday last week, I think it was. I knew right away what it was, but, you know, not an ounce of common sense. That's the client doing that. They don't give a shit if you break your plow or whatever. So I went out there. I just happened to have an axe, a splitting axe, one of those big heavy axes in the back of my truck, and I hammered them out of there. They're in the back of the truck now. They're not going to ever be seen on this site again. You can see a little piece of cable. Last pass I could see that little cable. It's the emergency brake. There's like a battery pack with a little tiny cable and an emergency brake. It's frozen, broken. They probably broke that right off the trailer. So I had trouble with this power pack yesterday. It was not raising or angling. It was really cold 2 nights ago, and I think there's a little bit of water in the oil. So I heated it up with a propane torch. I drained it, and I don't think it got drained last year. So that's part of the problem right there. Lack of maintenance. I just forget. Like, I can't remember everything. There's just too much to do, you know. And it didn't get done. So I changed it at home in the driveway before I left. And it's working much better today. It didn't work that great yesterday. It's working really good today. I think I'm going to change it once more, and that's part of your plow maintenance is change your oil. As this plow is officially 12 years old this year, this month. I picked it up in 2008 in January. I think it was the 2nd of January, so it turned 12 years old on the beginning of the month. And that's probably a sign of the age that the water is getting in there somehow, probably through the O-rings or somewhere. Maybe I covered up all summer, so no rain falls on it all summer. But we've got a tremendous amount of rain this winter. It mostly got above 0 temperatures in November, December. We had I think 2 days in a row was -20, and other than that, every day it's been either I'm talking Celsius, so what is that in Fahrenheit? Low, it's around 5 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 20, I think. So pretty cold. But other than those 2 days, and today and yesterday were really cold. The only 4 days we've had all winter that were really cold. I think I got interrupted about the tree story, the dead tree. No one on this site, not the property manager, not the assistant, knew that that tree was dead until I mentioned it. And finally they said, okay, send us an we need an arborist report, they said. And it usually costs $600 or $700 for arborist report. So I said, listen, I do tree removal, I can send you the arborist report for free if you give me the job. So, and this is the previous property manager, assistant property manager. I sent her that over a year ago. I think it was, must have been springtime, 2019 or no, it wasn't 19, it was 2018. Yeah, because by this time last year, I got an email mentioning the walkways. No introduction, no, hi, I'm the new replacement for so-and-so. You know, if I walk into a room full of people that I'm working for, the first thing I do, if I've never met these people, is I introduce myself. It's it's a professional way to operate. And I got an email from this woman, and that was the first news that I had that the truck was not the right size machine for the front walkways. And no, I'm the new property manager, nothing. I said, well, that's kind of weird. I don't know who this person is. Usually when I get something like that, I ignore it. I don't even read it. Anyway, I just happened to read it because it did mention the address of this place probably. And I said, well, that's where I'm working, so I better read this. And she's been in charge now for about a year now, I guess. I've talked to her maybe 3 times in that whole year, maybe 4 times. It's very, very, very few times I've talked to her. So I mentioned that when I talked to her in October, and also her boss is the property manager, the official title, that the tree's dead, and that I had sent an estimate and an arborist report with the previous site manager, and they weren't aware of that because I don't know. I guess they didn't. To me, it's a no-brainer. There should be a file that this person hands off to the next person that takes her position, and everything should be in that file. So either this new person doesn't have the knowledge to access this file, or can't read, probably a bit of both, and or maybe they just deleted the whole thing. If I was my last couple of days working for someplace, I would just delete files. What the hell? I don't need to do them any favors. They probably get paid very, very little. That's the other thing about these site managers, is they're not paid much. I'm told by someone I know really well in the organization who's high up. He says they don't get paid much. That's probably why they need very little or zero experience, because they don't want to pay. So you get what you pay for. And then I said, okay, I sent this in. She says, can you resend it? I said, okay, I'll resend it. So I asked her, do you want stump grinding done? And I can't remember if I'd included it the first time. So I had that in there, the stump grinding. I also mentioned there's a signpost. I think I might have mentioned that in this video. I don't even know. That next door there's a chip truck, little hamburger chip truck. And he sells hamburgers there, so big trucks pull in and they park in the handicap spot at this site because there's very little parking on the road out front. And they probably backed in and hit the sign and broke it. And of course I've got blamed for breaking it last spring. And I think it happened in April when there was no snow. So here we have a broken sign, and okay, blame the plow guy. I said, no, it's probably someone stopping for French fries. And he, what do you mean French fries? He said. I said, well, didn't you notice there's a French fry truck right beside the building there? So they never noticed that. I resent my price, my arborist report, including fixing the sign, including stump grinding, And I think I got a purchase order. I can't do the job unless I get a purchase order. And I think I got it on a Tuesday. And I think the following Friday, like 4 days later, the big windstorm in the morning, and the dead tree had been blown over. I got a service request call, and that's how they deal with these things. They get service request calls, and nothing to do with the purchase order or the fact that I mentioned there's a dead tree. So the tree had blown down, and we came out, and I figured, well, probably because it blew down, the stump probably uprooted, and we won't need the stump grinder. So just put a chain on it, pull the rest of the way out of the ground, and cut it up, throw it in a truck, and we'll get paid for that job. And then so I sent the bill in I think within a day or two I sent the bill in for that. So that's how that sort of thing works. It takes 3 years to get a job done around here. I just thought to myself, you know, wouldn't it have been funny if it landed on someone's head? Not funny, but ridiculous, you know? 3 years pointing out the dead tree. And the sad part is the people working here come out, they see the dead tree, and they look at me and think I'm the one that doesn't know anything. There's some snow. Alright, so we covered all 3 issues. The one that really bothers me the most is number 1. Contractor blowing snow through the fence. In a year they haven't been able to correct that. So, and the number 2 was the walkways. You know, inappropriately sized machine. A pickup truck. To me it's the right size, but anyway, that's my opinion. I always answer the same way when they give me this kind of scenarios. They say, listen, that's not the right size machine. I said, well, okay, I can give you an estimate to do it a different way. And usually they decline right away. They say, no, well, we don't need that. But if I do send an estimate, sometimes I just send it without them even asking me to send one. And they send me back an email saying, we did not request this. Please do not proceed with this work, or something like that. And it's basically a way of saying, you know, shut up. Telling them to shut up. Because if they want it done, you got to pay for it. And we have rights as contractors. We do have a few rights. They can treat us really badly. They can mistreat us. And but we always have one thing to fall back on, is the letter of the contract. And my son, actually I picked up my son about this time last year. He started working at a grocery store, and I pick him up and say, so did you make lots of money? After he's done an 8 or 10 hour or whatever shift. And he'd say to me, Dad, he'd look at me with sarcasm and say, they're paying me the least amount legal. And I'd laugh and say, well, that's good. That's a motivating factor there, that maybe he's going to get a good education and a good paying job, and I won't have to worry about him in the future. But then again, I thought, that's a good one I can use on these property managers. So when I did mention that the first time, I just mentioned it jokingly. You have to kind of do this with someone you get along with. And I said, if you guys pay me $1 less than you do right now, it would be illegal. And they looked at me with a real puzzled look on their face. They had to think about that one. Because it was being thrown in my face that I'm getting paid lots of money. And I said, no, I'm not getting paid lots of money. The way this works, they award these contracts to the lowest bidder. And if they paid me $1 less than they do now, it would be illegal. And that's the truth. So you got to stand up for your rights. You got to, you know, it is a livelihood that it's my livelihood, and I need the income. I can't afford to go without a job. But at the same time, we do have rights. And yeah, you have to, sometimes push comes to shove, you got to stand up for yourself. So, and you got to do it the right way. There's a right way and there's a wrong way. I hope this helps someone out there, because yeah, 27 years of doing this, I do know a thing or two. I'm not some dumb plow guy that's just got no brain. Just plow snow with no brain at all. But I think that's what they think I am. So push the subscribe button. Push the like button if you like it. If you can't stand rant videos, give me a thumbs down. Thanks for watching.